Hey, mate, how you going, mate?
Good, Pete. Good to be here, buddy.
Yeah, shame we couldn't get your opponent this weekend.
Yeah, I was wishing Jared would have been on. It would have been nice. I mean, this is the inaugural Titanic Bowl,
Yep.
and yeah, it'd be good to have Jared here.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have had some pretty good input for it.
He's always got good input. But I want to have a shout out before we get going on this.
Yep.
Um, I want to shout out to the Pat and Matt podcast because they're the only podcast of the three podcasts that have both of the participants in it. Obviously, you're out and Dave's carrying this podcast. He's still like, I think, part of it. And Jake and Joey, obviously, Joey's out and Jake's carrying it. But Pat and Matt podcast are both participants are there.
All right.
And
I think Dave was hoping for an invite next week, actually.
I also want to point out my podcast partner, Patty Ice Cold. He'd be really good in a best ball league because, man, oh man,
I was a bit stunned he sat too.
I already talked to him about that. I don't know how many times.
Yep.
I can see Gabe Davis sit
Yeah, he's hard to play.
because he's been absolutely horrible. But with Chase out, I don't know. I don't want to say anything.
They had to throw the ball somewhere, and you'd have to think T. Higgins was going to get the ball. So.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
too bad.
Oh, there's our cookie clock right on time.
Well, that's good that it works.
So, what do we want to talk about, mate? You got a
Well, I've got a bit of a history lesson here. I've made some notes.
Yep.
Since Jared's not here, I'm going to just review our matchups this year. Week 5, my team, the Chicago Bears, played Jared's team, Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
And I beat him 425.25 to 386.06. So I got the first tick on him.
Yep.
Now, week 11, I played him again. He got the tick, big score. He had 450.78. And I actually had a pretty good score for me, 416.75. So we each got one apiece.
Around about the same margin each way, too,
Yep.
both times. So.
Now, this is a rubber match, obviously, but I'll say one thing about Jared. He's got his team rolling at the right time.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Now, we all know he obviously had the worst record this year. Didn't mean he had the worst team, but he had the worst record.
Yep.
But when you look at two teams like Joey, Akron Pros, and the brothers with Providence Steamrollers, easily by far two of the best teams in the comp
Oh, they
this
were.
year.
Yeah, of course
Unreal teams with big scores. Joey, I talked up last time when I was on your podcast, and they're gone. They're both gone.
All it takes is a bad week, eh?
One game, and that's the thing with these playoffs. And like I said, Jared, he's got his team rolling.
Yep.
He's an experienced owner. He's got his team flying right now when it counts, and he'd have to be ecstatic with my start this week because I've got 4 guys, 15, 12, 10, and 0.
Haven't even cracked 40 yet.
That's not even 10 a man, so that's 200 points. What do you think, Pete?
That's not good.
Not good, is it? I'll tell you, it's always fun to have the game that counts and you have your worst score of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, I experienced similar last week. Actually, I was just there watching. They were all tapping out. There was guys. I had guys injured all over the place last week. So
man, injuries have been bad.
Yeah.
I know all the teams left have had a lot of guys.
If I would have lost another 4 for this week if I'd have been still alive. So I would have lost Jamar Chase.
Chase is gone.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Minka's
Jabril
gone.
Peppers is out this week as well. And there was someone else.
What's his name? Pittman's just been ruled out.
Pittman's ruled out. He's going to
Keenan Allen ruled out.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, all those quarterbacks.
They're massive losses.
How many quarterbacks are ruled out? It's absolutely crazy.
I've never seen this sort of attrition at quarterback.
Terrible this year, and with all the rules they've made to try and make it.
Yeah, it's 2-handed touch on a quarterback, and and they're still dropping like flies.
You know what's funny? Because obviously you've been a fan for a while, not as long as me, but you go back into the past. A lot of those quarterbacks, I know the things were different there, but they never missed a game. I guess they just played through. Well, Troy Aikman's had a big, talks about his concussions and stuff.
What about Brett Favre?
Yeah, I mean, those guys just kept playing. I mean,
he barely ever missed a game, and he got his clock cleaned out every week, pretty much.
I know they have those protocols now. Like, what's his name? Pittman came through the protocols, traveled with them, and then it reoccurred. Stuff like that happens. Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's
what the league's going to be like now with everything's happened with concussions and stuff. It's any hint of some sort of concussion symptoms, they're done.
It's pretty bad.
So the league just can't afford it.
Now, I want to get back onto my opponent, Jared, because I've been building him up.
What's he got? One player guy so far?
Look, I traded him the real Cincy quarterback, and he's come back to haunt me, Browning.
He didn't have a great game.
He was pretty good, though. better than the other guy would have had. What's his name again? Bye-week Burrow.
I heard bad boy somewhere. But
no, I've never called him that, and I never will. He's a good bye-week quarterback. Look, if he throws him back, I may, if he was there like my fourth or fifth quarterback, I may look at him for some bye weeks, but some fool will probably draft him early if Jared does throw him back. But
I threw him up the opportunity for a side bet this week.
What was it?
On whether he was throwing Burrow back into the draft pool or not.
He won't, because he'll get too much pressure. He's a little crumbly under the peer pressure. All them guys will be on him about, you can't throw Burrow back.
He wasn't going to throw him back, I don't think so.
Look, I will say one thing. I've got a few little notes here, too, about Jared. Like, I want to win, obviously.
Yep.
But I think it would be pretty cool.
We'd all like to win.
If a guy that's wearing the clown suit is holding up that trophy. That's the one thing that I'm going to take consolation in if I lose.
Oh, man.
Is that it'll be pretty cool that the guy that had the worst record the whole year and is wearing a clown suit he gets a little bit of revenge at the end
Titanic
with that trophy. Because I wanted to hold that trophy up, but that start that I got there, man, oh man, it's going to have to be. I'm going to have some.
I wouldn't tap out yet.
I'm not tapping out.
He's got some pretty bad matchups too. So.
I got to have some 70 guys now. I don't know if I got 70 guys up there.
Like Purdy up against the Baltimore Ravens isn't a great
Yeah,
matchup.
But Purdy, MVP Purdy, man,
while we're on that situation, who do you think the real MVP is?
Who do I think is going to win it, or who do I think?
Who do you think the MVP is?
Well,
not who you think will win it.
Okay. It depends on how you view MVP. Yep. Like, is the MVP the best player in the league, or is the MVP the guy that if his team doesn't have him, they're useless? I mean,
that's how I view the MVP.
Because I know different voters, especially in basketball and baseball and all those, but they all vote differently. Some vote on he's the best guy in the league, and some vote if you take this guy off the team's hopeless.
Well, that's how I've always viewed an MVP.
Well,
if you remove a certain player from the team.
I'll go by the way you just said.
Yep.
I mean, you could take off Purdy, and the Niners would be good. You could take off CMC, Debo, Kittle. The Niners would still be good.
Yep.
So they really don't have the MVP.
Yep.
Lamar, if you took off Lamar, Baltimore definitely wouldn't be as good.
Yep.
But I think it's hard to say this, but when the Dolphins didn't have Tyreek Hill on the field.
You're going exactly where I was going.
They're absolutely horrible. So I don't think a wide receiver obviously has never won it. No. I know there's been, I think it was 8 that have won the Super Bowl MVP, wide receivers, but I don't think a wide receiver will win it because everybody that votes, they want to give it to a quarterback.
Yep.
I mean, there has been some running backs, but there's no running back now. CMC, but
he's probably the closest thing I've seen for a fair while for a running back.
But they don't really build him up that much. No. I don't know.
He has got 20 touchdowns on the season, which is
Yeah,
probably the quietest 20 touchdowns I've ever seen, to be honest.
Yeah, I put that up, how he had 20, Mostert had 20, and those other teams had like 16 and 13 and 18. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree on the Tyreek thing.
Tyreek
You sit
Hill
there and look at that Dolphins offense without him, and half the time they just sputter. His speed's just uncoverable.
He is unreal. He is unreal. And when he's out there, it's just a different team. Like Waddle's good, but when Hill wasn't there,
no, Waddle had that good game last week.
They were crap.
But outside of that, when Hill's been away, he's really struggled actually. So
I got a question for you because I've been doing a bit of reading lately.
Yep.
What do you think's going to happen to Justin Fields?
I can't see him back with the Bears. I think he gets traded. They might get a second or a third round pick or something for him. This is all obviously contingent on them having the number 1 overall pick, which is no certainty.
3 games left.
Yeah, 3 games left. If Carolina do us a favour and lose all 3 of them, we got the number 1 pick. I really do think Fields probably is destined for another. And I wouldn't get rid of Justin for Drake May. So if they're sitting there with the second pick,
they seem to like him.
I think I'd rather have Fields than Drake May. But Caleb Williams, if you've got you don't get many opportunities that high in a draft to take a young quarterback and reset that rookie wage scale. It's like you're going from paying, I don't know what they're paying the rookie quarterbacks now. Was it 15?
Well, he's due
15 million or
he's
so.
due for.
But Fields will get 40 million a year, probably.
Look, I 100% agree with what you're saying. I think personally they'll have a new coaching staff.
Yeah, probably.
And whether they have a new GM or not is debatable. I've seen some say
I don't think so.
Keep him, and some say get rid of him. But
I'm a big fan of what some of the stuff.
Yeah,
he's done,
but
actually,
you're
so,
not the one that's making the
No,
decision.
I know.
But what I'm saying is there are people that back him. But what I think is they're looking at a new coaching staff comes in. They're going to want their guy. They're not going to want Fields.
No.
They're going to say, look, he's all right, but we want this guy. And the money is just so different. I mean, God, why pay Fields if you think Caleb Williams is the guy?
Well, even if Caleb's equal to Fields.
How much do you save for 5 years?
Yeah, that's it.
So I think Fields is gone. And I think what scares me, though, is I know May is good, but obviously me and you have visions of Trubisky.
I do, 100%.
Same thing, same pick, same university, you name it.
I'd nearly rather go further down and just take a chance on Daniels if that was the case.
But I think you'd have to go Williams. And man, the money you save, and
in all honesty, the only other person I would even consider that high is Marvin Harrison.
I don't think they'll take him 1, though.
I don't think they'll take him 1, but I wouldn't lose any sleep if they did.
I saw a few mock drafts. What are they at? Where are the Bears at now? 5?
5 currently. Their strength of schedule.
They
horrible, so whoever
they had Marvin Harrison still going to the Bears at 5.
I think the Cards will take him at 3 if they're still sitting there.
We'll see. They
need a stack of talent.
They're building up. The Penn State lineman and Alt from Notre Dame as 2 picks.
Alt seems to be climbing ahead of Fasano.
His dad was in the NFL. He's 6'7". He's Notre Dame.
6'7", 6'8", something like that.
He's kind of mean and nasty, they said. The Penn State guy's good, but they'll both be there.
Fasano's shown a little bit of a tendency not to handle bull rushes a bit so far. So they seem to think he's a bit slow out of his footwork. So
I just think, I think Fields is gone too. I think he's gone.
Like in saying that, if they made the decision to keep Fields and then turned around and took Marvin Harrison with the top pick, I'd have no issues with that either.
I can't see Harrison going first. No. I can't because I just not with Williams and May.
So many people are just talking him up as the best prospect in the draft.
But I have yet to hear anybody, even any mocks, have him at 1.
I saw one really recently. I was like,
I don't
all right.
think so. Not the
But
way
yeah,
the
look,
way the league
you got
is.
to take quarterback if you're up there.
Yeah,
So,
especially with Williams
yeah,
because of the hype he's had for the last 2, 3, 4
yeah,
years. I mean,
yeah. Slowed down a bit
it
lately.
has slowed down, but that's just it. He didn't have a great year, but he's still good.
Yeah, the team around him's not real good at USC
Mm.
either, so they can't stop anything on defense. And outside of Brendan Rice, I don't think he really had a lot to throw to either, to be honest. And
Mm.
who knows how good Brendan Rice is? So yeah.
Mm.
Just because Jerry Rice was one of the best receivers the league's ever seen doesn't mean
Mm.
his son
Did you
is.
see what Moss said the other day?
No, no, I
Oh,
don't think so.
they asked him who was the best receiver. He said hands down, by far he was.
Randy,
Yep.
I got no problems with that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Randy was a freak.
He said he had Rice as like number 2,
Yeah.
but he said nobody was as good as him.
No, I don't disagree with that.
He had his top 5. One of them I thought was a bit wild. I had the top 5, except I don't know if I had one of them. He had him first, Rice second. He had Chris Carter third. That's where I had a problem.
He didn't drop anything.
And then he had T.O. was 4th. No, yeah, and Calvin Johnson was 5th.
I probably would have had Calvin Johnson at 3.
I wouldn't have if I had Carter in there, he'd be 5th.
Yeah, I would have had Calvin up at 3.
Yeah, Calvin.
He was a freak.
T.O. Yeah, that's pretty tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said hands down him by far.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Like Randy's got some of the best tape you'll ever watch. You go back and have a look at his college highlights; they were insane. Marshall were doing nothing, and all of a sudden he arrived. He managed to turn Chad Pennington into a first-round quarterback. So,
okay, now I got a little recap, a little review here. I need to know if you're tipping me to win this game. I know your decision's easier now because of this, the start, but before you answer, I'm going to go back and give you the reason I'm even asking the question. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
You had a little playoff podcast last week that I watched.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah. I can't remember what I had on there, but
I'll refresh your memory.
You'll help me here.
And I can see how you may have blocked it all.
Don't forget, I did leave 2 bags of ice in the back of the car this morning, so
for 5 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
I can see how you blocked it out because
probably blocked it out halfway through the first games last week.
What I'm going to tell you, you probably won't like. But anyway, here we go. You tipped Joey to win. Joey got beat.
Against Davo, wasn't it?
He got beat by Davio. You tipped Robbie to win. Robbie lost to me.
Went pretty good last week, didn't we?
We're not done.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
You tipped yourself to win.
That was against Jared. Yep.
You got beat.
Yep.
So right now, your big tipping on your podcast is 0-3.
Did I tip a winner?
Well, we're to the 4th game, which is all there was.
I can't remember what the other game was.
This is the Packers against the Brothers, Providence. You wishy-washy hemmed hawed and said it was a toss-up. You never made a pick, but you threw a caveat in there that I wrote down.
Yeah.
Pat's Miami guys had to watch out for the Jets.
Oh, yeah.
Mostert got 2 touchdowns and scored 30 for him, and the Dolphins beat the Jets 30-0.
The Jets defense has stopped so many teams this year, and then all of a sudden, Tyreek Hill, and they exploded. So
I'm praying to the good Lord above that you're not tipping me to win because I don't think you can pick your nose. So
if it's any consolation, I didn't even look at anything to pick anyone.
You're better off probably not looking at anything. You're pretty much 0 for 4 here. So, but as I said, anybody could pick this one after my start of 15, 12, 10, and 0. So, but I just figure if you tip me, I got no chance of winning.
I probably would have because of some matchups that Jared had on offense, to be honest. So I thought he had some rough matchups there with Purdy. Purdy on offense. I mean, you can never pick what Garrett Wilson's going to do on a given week. It's freaking hit and miss all over the
Simeon's
place.
starting. Yeah, what's his name? Wilson's got concussion protocol too.
Yep.
Levis is probably looking out. Pickett was out.
And Houston's D's played all right at times too. So, yeah.
It's pretty
So I thought
hard.
you were in a bit of a box seat to probably win, but
Well, the worst part about that 0 by Freiermuth, and I put it up on the chat, he had 0 targets.
didn't even try him. Yeah.
And I watched. Rudolph never looked at him.
That's what it was like at the start of the season. He wasn't looking. No one was looking at him. Pickett wouldn't throw him the ball at all.
So yeah, I hope you're not tipping me.
I hadn't tipped anyone, mate, if it's any consolation. But
the other games have started.
I must admit,
well,
when I looked at this game during the week, so this is Buffalo and Canton, I actually thought Dave had a pretty good chance to win this.
He does got a good chance,
and it's looking even more so.
Well, okay, they played the same number. He's 1 less, and he's 12 behind. So it's I call that right now pretty even. Pretty even. It depends on what happens.
Jake's got to find another starter already with Pittman's
going.
Lineup,
yeah,
so he's out. I don't know what sort of options. He doesn't have a lot there.
He doesn't have a lot. Is Waller there? Is Waller in his lineup?
He hasn't got Waller.
Waller will probably go in.
Probably going to have to. 3 tight ends.
No, I don't mind. I played 3 tight ends. Obviously, one of them was terrible.
Yep.
Receivers, I mean, look at Cup. He got me 15. He's shit.
Yep.
He never throws to him.
Look what Puka did.
Yeah, he throws to him every down.
I nearly said to Dave the other day, I said, if you're ever going to lift Puka off that taxi, this is the week to do it.
But Stroud, Jared kept trying to get Stroud.
And David said Pickens. He started him nearly every week. Didn't start him this week. If he'd have started him here, like Jake's in trouble.
Yeah, man. Pickens, oh fuck, what a loser that guy is. I can see not starting him.
He's got a 2-cent brain.
Those Pittsburgh guys, I can see how Tomlin wants out. Patty, I feel sorry. God, he would be so good in a best ball league.
He's not looking good.
No, he's not. I mean,
Spirits had few guys going. Most of them have scored pretty decent points.
Well, Dave, you look at Davio's guys.
Yeah.
Those linebackers are just out of their brain. You know what I always
nearly 30 points.
It's funny that I mean, obviously playoffs and other leagues, but it seems like I've had I don't know how many so far in these playoffs. The guy I'm versing is wide receiver, linebacker, whatever. They've got their highest score of the year this week. And that every time I play somebody, one of their or two of their guys get the highest score they've had. Like this is already week 16.
Yep.
And
well, since I traded Ernest Jones to Dave,
he's been killing it.
His lowest score has been about 25.
Yeah,
so
I know. That's
going
what I'm saying.
off.
You get these guys that are doing that, it's hard to lose.
And he's the only linebacker who hasn't had play yet. There's Foy Lucon, who scores 100 points every fucking week.
Yeah,
so.
He's pretty good. He is good. Yeah.
So, I knew Jakey was struggling with quarterbacks.
Well, Stick had a good game. What did he get him?
He ended up with 21. So
that's not bad.
No, yeah, it's all right.
What is it? 21.1.
21.9.
Well, that's really 22 then. I'll say.
And he got 35 out of Olave.
I mean, actually, 22 for a quarterback. I had golf that week when he got 7 against the Bears.
The one he's probably ruined a bit is Ed Oliver's 42 points sitting on his bench. Every time he says he wants to start Ed Oliver, he blows up.
I talked to him about Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
And I got Aaron Donald in 2 other leagues.
Yep.
I think he's
done.
I think he's done too. I said that to Jake.
Yeah.
If I didn't have him on contract, which I think I do for another year, I wouldn't keep him. I wouldn't bring him back.
No, he's not that.
He gets double teamed.
He's not that player anymore.
And he can't beat it anymore.
I mean,
he's still doing.
Points.
He's still got points.
Since week 11, he's had 3 scores in double figures, and only lows double figures too for the most part. So.
I mean, He's still going to have a decent year when you add it up at
It'll
the
be
end.
solid.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't know who he was looking at other than Sam Hubbard. I did say he was.
He told me he wanted to put in Brian
Brian
Burns. He's
Burns.
about ready to hang. He didn't want Sam Hubbard. He kept telling me I don't want to play him.
Yep.
But Burns was hurt, and he said if I miss Hubbard and Burns is out, then I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So that's what happened there.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, it's a hard decision.
It is. Yeah, that's the problem with all the early games, eh?
I got to admit, I wouldn't mind one. I wouldn't mind just playing best ball 1 week. I mean, we should do next year where we play 1 week is best ball, because then you don't have to worry about those stupid decisions. Like Patty in best ball would be unreal.
Drives you nuts.
Yeah,
I said
they do.
Every week, you got to sit there and make a decision, and most of the time you make the wrong one. And that's, I mean, some guys get through the season without having to worry about it too. So,
that's for sure.
Yeah. So you sit there and you got guys that can consistently score 40 points. At 40 points in your lineup, you don't even think about replacing them, do you? So, I said it's just you can sit there and ride your matchups and hope that works. But I mean, I tried to do that with Waddle last week, and it backfired completely. Waddle had probably his biggest game of the season. So, at 100 yards at halftime and a touchdown. So, I don't know if he's had that many 100-yard games outside of that this year. So.
Probably not.
No. But yeah, look, we all know there's plenty of luck involved in fantasy football.
A lot of luck.
Always has been.
It's old boy.
Luck and injuries play a huge part in it, unfortunately. So what? Look, since you've set me up for it, I'll put some tips in.
I just wanted to show you how bad you were last week. I didn't want to listen to you again.
If I'd have made pre-selections, I would have picked Spirit to beat Pat.
Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, I'll give you that.
And during the week, I actually had Spirit Spirit and the family over for dinner on Thursday night, and we were talking then, and I actually picked David to beat Jake.
Okay.
Purely because
this one I think still up in the air.
I knew Jake was in a lot of trouble with injury, so and I would have picked you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Jared's got to be loving my start because it is so weak. It's unbelievable. I mean, I still got guys, but they're going to have to really push now to cover the other scrubs.
Yeah, for sure. I reckon I might beat the boy this week too.
You might do what?
I might be able to beat the boy this week too, I reckon.
I think you will because the bye doesn't score.
No, it doesn't.
I think you'll get one.
I even submitted a lineup just to make sure of it.
No, I always submit. Whenever I'm out of a league, I still submit just because I want to see what I got.
But I'd say, Kenneth hasn't submitted a lineup, but he would have been off to a good start. He's got nearly 100 points sitting there already.
I think we got a little bit of talk too for the off season that you kind of threw the cat amongst the pigeons with that trade deadline stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty divided. Like I was on your side. I think we should be able to trade. Joey was obviously against it. Somebody else, I think, was.
I don't know if anyone else was overly against it, but
yeah.
My reasoning is you look at those the WDL leagues where they got 1 year contracts. I mean, you're essentially buying a player for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly what's happened. We've had big trades in those leagues so far.
Yeah, it generally happens around this time of the year when guys have been eliminated or they're basically eliminated. And let's offload some 1 year contracts to try and get some draft picks for it. And I mean, it's a win-win, or can be a win-win for both teams.
You're getting first-round picks usually for some of those guys.
Yeah.
And I noticed some of the trades too. I noticed the guys that got acquired ended up having shit games. So it wasn't like they just came in and blew it out. They got like 10 points or something. So
I did make a trade, and one of them, I can't think of what it was, but I think the player scored all right. I think they got like 20 points. The team just shit the bed otherwise. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think we might have to bring that up in
that's what I was thinking.
Meeting and have a talk about it because I don't know why we can't trade. Why not? Who cares?
Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't to me
Really.
either.
So, I mean, I guess for the guys that are still involved, they probably think the other team's getting an unfair advantage, but they're not getting it for nothing.
Well, not only that, but if the trade's there, if they got the same chance to trade,
100%. And whoever's doing it's giving up future collateral to do it. So,
definitely, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely worth a discussion in the off season.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if we had anything else there that we were talking about that might have been worth looking at. I don't think so. You got anything else you want to talk about, mate?
Nah, I'm good, matey. I think I'm looking forward to the real playoffs and stuff coming up. So
yeah, I think I enjoyed a bit of a letdown off everything finishing for me this week. To be honest, I basically just crashed this week. I hadn't looked at.
It's different when fantasy's done because you still follow the NFL, but not probably with such a keen eye.
You just don't care what players are doing what.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, so yeah, I sat there and watched the games. I tried to watch the Steelers Bengals
I'll still
game.
be watching the game.
I fell asleep watching the Steelers Bengals one. So, well, I'll say good luck to everyone involved this week. We'll
good luck.
Have another trophy awarded by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, I think Big Jared's the man.
And I'll be looking to try and get the whoever's involved in the Titan Bowl on for next week's podcast.
Yes,
if
definitely.
I can.
Definitely.
So, good luck to whoever that is.
All right.
All right, Matty. Thanks for coming on, mate.
No worries, buddy. Take care.
All right, see you, lads.
Yep.
Oh, going that way. Where is it?